The allegations are here, and there needs to be a speedy and thorough investigation to ascertain what exactly transpired. The allegations of an MP accepting a bribe or whatever took place sheds a very dark cloud on our democracy. Our judicial institutions need to get to the bottom of this in order for integrity to be brought back. It sends a bad message to investors and others, and at the same time damages the image of this young country. It also sends a bad message to our youth. MPs are well paid and should not have to make such choices as has been portrayed in this video. The integrity of the country is suffering, and the integrity of the government is at stake. The people very much would like to hear the voice of our Prime Minister as well as our Deputy Prime Minister with respect to this matter.
Integrity, accountability, and transparency. These three basic principles of good governance is at the heart of this entire matter. It is clear that this issue has cast a very negative shadow, not only on our Parliament, not only on our government, but also on our country. Let me state up front, no one is perfect. No one is void of weaknesses. Only God is perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, when the elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. The grass is the people of St. Martin, its residents, as well as all who come to our island to invest or for rest and recreation. This issue has hit the globe. I, as a member of Parliament, after being elected by the people of this country, took an oath of office. And I think it is good to remind the public and remind ourselves again of this oath, which is sacred. This oath states very clearly that the members of Parliament shall make the oath of declaration before the governor and before accepting their appointment or appointment. And I'm going to read it again. I swear that, and because I want people to hear my voice, I swear or declare that I have neither given nor promised anything, nor shall I give or promise anything, howsoever described and under any pretext to any whomsoever, either directly or indirectly in connection with my election as a member of the Parliament. I swear or promise that I shall not accept any promises or gifts from anyone at all, either directly or indirectly, in order to do or refrain from doing anything in the course of this appointment. I swear or promise allegiance to the King and the Constitution of the Kingdom, that I shall always help to uphold the Constitution of St. Martin, and that I shall champion the interest of St. Martin to the best of my ability. So help me Almighty God. And this is what Parliament should stand for. This is the oath of office that should be at the forefront of all of our actions once we decide, actually from before we decide to get on a list. In my view, once this oath is taken, it is not only to the letter of the law, but also to the spirit of the law. Saying good morning, good afternoon is not written down in the Constitution. But it is decency, common decency. That is what you do. In our view, there is a collective as well as an individual responsibility to uphold the law and remain void of even the appearance or semblance of breaking the law. Our integrity, reputation as MPs and as a country, as stated by my colleague MP Myers, has been severely scarred by this event. The systems of checks and balances established under the principles of our constitutional democracy must be able and be allowed to function. We cannot, ladies and gentlemen, tiptoe around this very, very serious issue, whereby allegedly a member of parliament, as well as allegedly a member of the Council of Ministers and other persons have been called by the competent authorities to be questioned. I was very concerned when I saw the first report in terms of the reaction of the Council of Ministers and the reaction of some of the members of the Council of Ministers, including the Deputy Prime Minister. Instead of saying, you know what is happening here? It doesn't look right. The minister adds to this very bad situation by adding another component by stating it looks like a James Bond movie. I mean, it has to stop. This is a serious, serious matter. And perhaps it is a joke to this person, but by continuing it in such a frivolous manner, instead of being very firm and saying, we had a meeting and we asked the minister who is or has been questioned according to reports to step aside until these investigations are over. Don't hear anything of that. Always let the judicial system take its course. And then what? We just sit aside and wait, hold our nose up, like they say in Dutch, doet alsof onze neus bloedt. In English, translated, doing as if your nose is bleeding, so you just close your nose and lift your head to the sky and hope everything goes away. I wish it was that easy. But you can't put the genie back into the bottle once it's out.
We should revise our laws in reference to unscrupulous behavior when involve the representatives of the people. I would like to have a Bill of Rights in place for the parliamentarians, clarifying especially the code of conduct. We have a colleague, for example, that have threatened another colleague. The way that we have corporatia, the way we express ourselves liberally, young people are looking and hearing, and it seems like lately right is wrong and wrong is right. So therefore, as a representative of the people, I find that a code of conduct should be put in place. We are legislators. That does not give us the right to live above the law. We must always respect the electorate and remember that we are representing them and working for them. Reviewing the laws on integrity and screening of parliamentarians, I think it should be the next priority for this legislative body. And therefore I would like to thank you, because the facts speaks for itself.
I am not here to pass judgment. I'm not at all here to pass judgment. We have a member of parliament who is currently under investigation, and we will wait the outcome of that investigation. We also have, by extension, have a minister of justice who has been questioned by the National Detective Landsrecherche in connection with the aforementioned investigation of the NP. Integrity in government is one of the pillars of democracy. Our country has been shaken to the core foundation with respect to alleged bribery and corruption. The process of governing should be open and transparent in order to rule out any conflict of interest. That should be avoided at all times. Any conflict of interest. And let me make it clear, it has been brought to the attention of the United People's Party faction that there are alleged kickbacks related to a number of government-related projects. And when I say it has been brought to the attention of the faction, The allegations are coming from the people on the street. From the people on the street, my dear people. They hear a lot about what goes on, and they relate it to us in case we are not aware of the fact, or if we did not happen to hear what is going on. Because as an MP, a member of parliament, we cannot be all over the place at all times. So the ears of the people are with us, and they come and relate information to us. To give an example, we read a few months ago about a member of parliament who is a director of a company that is actively carrying out construction works or has done so that at the port of St. Martin Cruise Terminal. This MP is part of the National Alliance Coalition, who has appointed the minister who is responsible for the port. Even a blind man could see that this is an outright conflict of interest. This issue still has to be addressed by Parliament. And we are waiting the harbour management to return to Parliament to provide information on a number of issues. This is an issue of integrity, my dear people. And we have to ask, where are the checks and balances? And if proper business practices were carried out. The justice part, as everybody might know, I was always against the justice part for many, many reasons. The justice part, a $100 million project, has a cloud hanging over it. Again, it has been brought to our attention by the people in our community, where it is alleged that kickbacks have been paid to top government officials. Top official alleged that top government official has been getting their kickback in order for such a project to move forward. Again, the country's integrity is at stake when such allegations live a life of its own in our community. Again, it has been alleged that the Bureau of Telecommunication is purchasing a building in Phillipsburg for $7 million. And from the people on the street again, it has been alleged top government officials are to get kickbacks from the sale. Where are the checks and balances within government? You can rest assured that the United People's Party parliamentary faction will delve into these matters in the coming weeks and months. With all these allegations out there in our community, I, as a member of Parliament, am calling on the relevant authorities to dig deeper to see if any truth of these allegations is any truth, if it holds any ground. I am sure law enforcement also, as well as has heard such allegations. Look deeper and follow the trail. As they say, where there is smoke, there is fire. If integrity, my dear friends, my dear colleagues, is not addressed, the image today of our country as a banana republic, based on the recent allegations of possibly alleged bribery, will persist And as the United People's Party faction, we cannot allow the country and its interest and the people of St. Martin to be dragged down through the mud within the kingdom and throughout the world. Because the world is watching. Investors are watching. And how we are handling this affair. The people also are watching how we are handling this affair. For us, it is very important that these matters has been thoroughly investigated. And whoever the culprits might be, they shall have to deal with the consequences. I thank you.
We are not here to pass hasty judgment, as we must allow the justice system to take its course. Our Constitution and laws have provisions to deal with matters like what has been alleged and what have been seen. It is no secret that this entire thing has been and become the talk of every community on this island, and even as far as beyond this island. I maintain there remain challenges in this Parliament where it pertains to calling of meetings. There is no transparency, no urgency. There appears to be no checks and balances anymore. As our Deputy Prime Minister would say when he was in opposition, might seems to be right. We want to know whether the Prime Minister, as head of the Council of Ministers, even while the investigation is still ongoing, will ask the minister in question to step aside and do the honorable thing so that the investigation could proceed unimpeded. We would like to hear further from the Prime Minister where it pertains to a member of her cabinet that allegedly may have committed acts against the law. We are considering from the UP faction calling the Prime Minister to Parliament to give her direct views, not just the procedures and policies of whether Article 43 applies now and whether the Dutch may come in. This is not about the Dutch. This is not about the Americans. This is about our young democracy, St. Martin. And we need to hear directly the views of the Prime Minister. And hence, we are considering calling her to Parliament to give a direct view as to what has transpired over the past weeks, although we know the investigation is ongoing. We also want to know whether the Prime Minister will ask for the seat now, as it was rumored that was done in the past with the then Commissioner and now Member of Parliament, Louis Leveis. I can't imagine how Louis Leveis felt when he was undergoing his investigation, which was not even caught on camera. By the way, and to date, nothing has become of the death threat made by a fellow member of Parliament to my person. And what is even more heartbreaking is that the Minister of Justice, with a sense of beating his hand on his chest, I issued a gun permit and license to him. The same member of Parliament who carried that gun without having it registered. But the Minister of Justice found it fit after the fact to issue a license and permit to the Member of Parliament. What time are we living in on this island? About this present challenge, we really expected the Deputy Prime Minister to have dealt with this matter in a more serious and professional manner, rather than trying to twist and to pivot the discussion to another angle, even by stating, as my colleague Gracita stated, it's like a James Bond movie, as we've read. But rather than coming out and dealing with it swiftly and directly and not beating around the bush, I beg to ask the question, is it then not a fact that the same Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. William Marlin, was not questioned, interrogated in Holland with regards to the 10% construction scandal? If it is not the case, then we need to put this rumor to rest. After all, we heard the minister himself, while he was a fellow colleague in the parliament, and this will come forward again, that if his family cannot eat, I mean, what's happening here? Members of the press and televiewers, listeners, with agony of mind and heart and despair of heart for my island, I say to our MP in question that while the investigation is still ongoing, maybe he should consider doing the honorable thing and stepping aside. We know that no one can force the MP in question to do the honorable thing. It is left up to him. It is left up to his conscience. It is left up to the oath that he took. But certainly we've seen and heard, and from the apparent of what we've seen and heard, the implication of other high-ranking government officials. Again, further, it was alleged that this government does not stand for anything. That can be debated on several levels. We also have the alleged harbour construction that my colleague Johan Leonard talked about, where it pertains to a colleague member of parliament being a director of a company, having had the responsibility to appoint the shareholder representative for the harbour, in which it is alleged that his father received a sizable construction work without even having that work being put out for bid. That is conflict of interest. These are the things that we're talking about, that where checks and balances seem to have gone away. When you understand that the government was broken for no ideological reason other than things that we're seeing that is happening today. It is alleged so much of things that is happening with regards to persons are shaking down people to get money and so on and so on. The fact that this is on camera makes a big difference. And that's the only reason why I talked about Louis Levice, whose act, as it has been played out in court and was condemned, was not on camera, but this is on camera, clear for all to see. Finally, the Jurassic Park, back then and now, which has been a sore subject, even now must be scrutinized to ascertain and to make sure that no one was undertaken and no one was going to receive any deal from this $100 million. A simple delinquency building that was supposed to be constructed for the youth became into an entire $100 million project. To satisfy who? So that who could have gotten what benefit from it? These are questions that we cannot dig our heads in the sand as ostrich and do as if it doesn't exist. These are questionable things. What is happening is that we, while not casting any judgment, will clearly state that the minister in question and the member of parliament in question should seriously consider doing the honorable thing, and that is to step aside. so that the legal investigation may proceed unencumbered. Thank you.
All right. Let me. I listened to all the statements, and while there are some very valid points, what I didn't hear any one of you spoke about is the allegation that the leader of the United People's Party set up, asked Mr. Jaap van Hovel to tape Mr. Illidge taking what looks like a bribe. And I think Mr. Leonard might be able to answer this question because as a law enforcement officer, he should also know that entrapment is fine.
Okay, Bibi, thanks for your, should I say, question or comment that was made by you. But at this point in time, I wish to make mention of this. We asked for this press conference to clear the air of what we think and how we feel about our Member of Parliament, Patrick Illidge. It went further than this. Allegations has been made, but none of us are in a position to defend the leader of the up faction but himself. He is more than ready to answer any questions that any one of the members of press have here today. He is ready. So the question asked will not be answered by none of us. That remark, actually, he will defend himself, and he, like I said, he is in a position, more than any one of us, to give all the allegations that were made against him to set his position straight.
Just for clarity, we all sent emails to him. I personally sent 2 emails and he didn't respond. Apart from that, as a group, as a body of Parliament, I heard the cry for the Member of Parliament and the Minister in question to step aside. Has the body in Parliament, the entire 15 members of Parliament, have you guys discussed this and to ask Mr. Illidge to step aside for the sake of integrity while the investigation is going on?
Well, we as Parliament, we felt it's best for us as a faction, seeing that our leader's name was mentioned, we felt it necessary for us to meet, synchronize, and give our statements. It will continue from here henceforth. We will now, after meeting with the press, we will make our decision as to how we will take that position, because this is something that is in the making for now.
Okay, one of the citizens sent a letter, Mr. Rolock sent a letter to Parliament yesterday, I believe, asking for a parliamentary inquiry. Now, he does not have the power for a parliamentary inquiry, but of course 5 members of Parliament can ask for one. Are you going to?
Well, to be honest with you, maybe the letter is in my mailbox if it was sent yesterday. I didn't see anything in my mailbox today, but I did not get a copy of that letter as yet. But we will check on that letter, check the contents, and we will make our decision from there on.
Let me also address that point. So in regards to the parliamentary, thank you for the question first of all. With regards to the parliamentary inquiry, of course we can ask for the parliamentary inquiry, but we cannot fool ourselves. Currently there's an ongoing investigation. We, from the members of Parliament standpoint, does not have the necessary tools, as well as where we can call certain persons to question them. But as you have it today, and you must not stray from the Constitution. The Constitution in Article 50 specifically talks from the standpoint of suspension and the standpoint of where a member of Parliament may lose his or her seat. So that's based on the law. So when we call for a parliamentary inquiry, we want to make sure that it is not conflicting where there's an ongoing investigation, as the case is today. And we applaud the citizen for sending in the letter. But right now, that's why we all stated the fact that we want to make sure that the legal process takes its course. But in the interim, there's an honorable thing that could be done. And that's what we call it on our colleagues to do in terms of the honorable thing.
Mr. James, I just have my final question because I have another emergency meeting. If my memory serves me correct, since St. Martin became a country 2010, we had the BTA scandal. and the BTA scandal was also international. The Minister of Justice was questioned in this whole affair. At that time, the Minister of Justice was part of the UP-DP coalition. Did you guys feel the same way, that he should have stepped aside while an investigation was going on?
Okay, again, thank you, Bibi, for the question. With regards to wanting any person to step aside, you want to always make certain that you are not jumping ahead of the law. Again, we stated clearly, we're not going ahead of the law. Let the procedure take its course. However, based on what you saw, based on, any blind person would have seen it, any deaf person would have heard it. Literally incriminating statements were made. So we are not saying that the minister then was good and the minister now is bad. Absolutely not. What we're saying is while the investigation is ongoing, we suggest, we recommend, hence the reason we said they should consider stepping aside. We did not say that they have to. They should consider stepping aside so that the ongoing investigation could go unimpeded.
Did you feel the same way when the BTA investigation was going on?
As I stated, with regards to then and now, it is a whole different story based on the facts that needed to be reviewed, and the process itself was in the hands of the proper authority. And that was then and even now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please. The name of the leader of the Unity Party has been mentioned in this whole issue, and Mrs. Myers did state that he's competent enough to defend himself. However, the question still remains, has the UP MPs, have you met with the leader of the UP? Have you asked, as representatives of the people, for an explanation as to his role, whether there is one or not, in the whole situation? Because you can say that it's up to him to defend himself, but you, as representatives of the people, should also be asking questions, even if it's your party leader.
Thank you, Alita. Yes, we actually did not felt it necessary last week when we were called to the press to give any statements, but as of today we met with our leader. That's the reason why we're strongly talking and telling the press exactly what we're saying here today, and that's the reason why I am saying on behalf of the UP that the leader is in a position to defend himself. Yes, we have spoken.
So he's on the island at the moment?
Yes, he came in yesterday.